Hello friends, and welcome to another video on this YouTube channel. My name is NeMina and we have a full moon coming up in just a few days. So in our normal fashion, we typically will do a divinatory reading and then talk about the correspondences for the upcoming. We do it for the new moon and we do it for the full moon on this YouTube channel. So last time we had done a black obsidian crystal ball channeled reading with the new moon energy, and that was really fantastic. And then today we are going to do a tarot reading again. So what I like to do is I like to do the reading first, and then I'll pause the recording and do a little bit of deep diving into the correspondences. But I like to do the reading first before I do any planetary correspondences for the upcoming lunar phase, just so that way I can have a direct connection with what the vibe is with spirit and not necessarily be influenced by the research that I've already done. So the intention is to read for the collective. I also cater my videos oftentimes to the magic practitioner, to the energy worker, to the energy healer. So a lot of the messages will be geared towards that audience as well. But if you gravitate towards this channel and this video, then there will be something here for you. So enjoy a little bit of ASMR while I shuffle these cards, and then we'll go ahead and get started on this reading. All right, so we have a full moon in Aquarius. That'll be this upcoming Wednesday on July 29th. It's going to be at its 100% illumination pretty early in the morning. It'll be 9:30 CST. That's the time zone I'm at, so definitely convert it to your time zone. So when we talk about full moon energy, the best time to start to do your full moon workings, if you're wanting to use this lunar cycle as part of fast manifestation, is going to be just a few days before. So Sunday, I'm recording this. Sunday, Monday are going to be two really great days to do this. It's also going to just depend on the energy and the intention. You know, use the planetary correspondences of the day and even broken down to the hour for what is going to best align with your magical intention. So the main energy that we see showing up for this full moon in Aquarius is we have the Devil card. So the Devil is showing up as the main energy in the center of this reading. So this is going to be all about what has chains on your life, on your practice. Is there a certain belief or a certain habit or a certain mindset that is continuously holding you back? We also could see that during this full moon might be more of a time to address some limitations, some blocks and restrictions that are showing up more so than output energy. This is really a vibe of taking stock of the lay of the land. You know, what is going on in your environment? What is going on in your practice? What is going on with your routine and mindset? The devil also can talk about unnecessary fears, so irrational fears. This could be an energy where, you know, there's a certain goal that you have, but there are certain fear-based mindsets or limitations that have been right at the forefront of your energy, preventing you from taking the next step. So if there is fear-based mentalities around whatever, preventing you from taking the next step in these goals, that's going to be an energy to really hold space for. So you can utilize the energy of this full moon to help unblock, to help clear, to help overcome, to help transform that fear into courage by re-identifying, relabeling, energizing that energy or that belief to help you move on. Now, in this one in particular, it's going to be something also pointed towards the past. It's looking towards the past. And so there could be an energy in the past that is feeding this fear. So Page of Swords is an energy that we have that seems to be a blocker during this time. Page of Swords is going to be, you know, it could be a lack of inspiration. It could be a lack of messages. So it could be a lack of engagement. So say, for example, you know, part of your goals were to start a YouTube channel. The Page of Swords in this aspect could be like, oh, I'm really not getting a lot of views. I'm really not getting a lot of engagement. This is something that is blocking me from moving forward with some of the goals that I have, because I'm concerned that, you know, maybe people aren't seeing it, maybe people aren't engaging, they're not interested. So this is definitely a thought, a message, a potential lack of inspiration, lack of ideas, lack of communication or engagement to confirm next steps. And that's going to be somewhat of a blocker during this full moon time period for you. Now, an energy to focus on releasing during this time, we have the Nine of Swords showing up in reverse. So Nine of Swords is really going to be the fear, the worries, the things that keep you up at night. It's going to be, hey, you know, are there concerns? Are there nightmares? Are there mentalities that keep showing up for you? This is an energy that was reversed. So we could see that some of these mentalities and some of these thought patterns or mindsets showing up in your life have been energies that you've already been working on. Sometimes when it comes to changing mindsets or releasing certain fears and concerns, to start adopting more of a optimistic outlook, more of a supportive outlook, is really about letting some of those things go. It's really about, you know, when they're showing up, to reframe the messages or the stories that show up in our minds about them. So, you know, if there was a certain goal that you had, a certain project that you were working on, and there was this underlying worry of, you know, unworthiness or undeservedness, part of releasing this would be to form a statement that is its opposite and holds a vibration that is a little bit higher. So if the mentality was, it never goes as planned, it never goes as planned, never works out as expected, the new higher vibration could be, well, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time will go a little bit better than previous. You know, just having an octave higher for the stories, labels, all of these things are going to help move you in a state of more alignment for what the goals are, the manifestation is that you're working on. A lot of this energy with the full moon being in Aquarius can also be fears around the unknown when it comes to technology, political, cultural futures. What does that look like? You know, oftentimes we talk about, you know, finding the balance of being open and observant on what reality looks like around us, while also remembering that we are creators that manifest new realities. And so if we can focus on what the reality, what the future is that we want to bring, that we want to hold space for, starting to break away from that collective fear-based herd mentality and start to create frequencies and energies that align with a better possibility. Now, the energy to focus on bringing in, we see the Justice card in reverse. With the Justice card, it is ruled by Libra. It is all about balance and fairness. We do have a very Libra sort of energy coming up here right at the end of September, beginning of October, as we wind down this witch's year. This energy is also about, when it comes to fairness and justice, being in the reversed energy. Ooh, this is a little rough. What I'm getting here is releasing any cords, releasing any energies or remembrance or grudges that we have for people and situations and environments that have wronged us. So we're really getting an energy of lightening our own mental load and cutting some cords and forgiving and moving on from areas that have wronged us. This is something that I've had to do multiple times over the years, depending on, you know, whether it was a romantic relationship or a working relationship. There are always going to be situations where people don't treat us in the way that we want to be treated, in the way that we deserve to be treated. And sometimes removing ourselves from those relationships can leave a lot of rips and tears and cords and holes in our different energetic bodies. And so being in the mindset of releasing what hasn't been aligned for us and letting go as we move forward, it's really about shedding old mentalities, shedding old relationships that no longer serve, moving past this vendetta or energies of retribution or revenge, really moving past that and keeping our sights set on the path forward. So the energy that we most need to focus on during this time is the Two of Cups. Two of Cups. So that's definitely a better energy to focus on bringing in. There's been a lot of swords, a lot of worry and stress showing up in the foundation of this reading. But the Two of Cups is soulmate energy. It's compatibility. It's connection. It is that highest aligned relationship. This is focusing on what lights us up, what excites us, what feels aligned. and moving in the direction of what is calling our hearts. This is being very mindful of what emotions and what relationships we are trying to align ourselves with, and making sure that we are doing our parts in being active participants when those relationships show up, and also doing our parts to be open and available to encounter such relationships. So, meaning, making sure that we are being aware of our environments. We are, participating in activities outside of just the internet to meet amazing people and situations and environments and experiences out in the wild, so to speak. We also have the Eight of Wands showing up. This card is in reverse currently. The Eight of Wands typically is a card that speaks about the passion and energy and drive that we have towards our goals, and seeing very fast manifestation and forward movement in this direction. But right now, with the Eight of Wands in reverse, it seems more to be like blocked energy. So it really seems like during this full moon time, there is some limitation to what we can do in the outer world and realm, in the physical matter space. And it is going to be more of that energy of igniting the passion within, rediscovering the relationships and the connections that we are striving for. I'm getting the what is your why. So really kind of holding space in relation to, what we have been moving towards, what we've been focused on during this time, and really being aware of like what is the why with all of that. And then we also have the Three of Cups here. Three of Cups. So whether you have, a group of others, or this is something that you are focused on doing yourself, this is really a seize the day kind of energy. This is an energy for celebration. This is an energy for collaboration. This is an energy to share your wins with others. There is a cautionary energy about sharing some of what is holding you back, sharing some of the struggles, and kind of holding some of that closer to the chest. I'm getting messages of, people that are in your environment that may use this opportunity of sharing your vulnerability in a way to sabotage. So, there is going to be an energy of celebration and alignment and success. But I do think that it would be best to kind of keep that circle small that you're sharing those good news details with. This is, for example, say you were selected to participate in a special project at work, or you were selected as part of like a promotion. You would want to wait until like there was an official announcement, or your manager had announced it, versus like as soon as you hear the news, going and sharing it with everyone. That's kind of the analogy that we're getting here. Okay, I want to get one more card. Most important takeaway from this full moon energy during this time. We have another 3 here, and we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands. This card, once again, was reversed. We do have a lot of reversals during this full moon reading. This is going to be another energy that is very much associated with our passion, with, you know, this fiery energy of Leo season, our goals, what drives us, what motivates us, what keeps us showing up for certain energies, you know, when it comes to our goals and what we are trying to accomplish, you know, what keeps us showing up. But when it comes to the Three of Wands, this is a perpetual energy. It is a universal number. So it is confirming that these goals that you have are universally aligned. But it's also a card that speaks about making a decision and taking action based on those decisions. So this is really, this incense seems to be going in my face a lot today. So the Three of Wands is going to be really a card that speaks about taking time to pour over your goals and passions and put a plan into place that you start to actualize, but more on a microcosmic, more on a internal level, more in the space of the astral first. So I'm seeing this, you know, if you were somebody that wanted to manifest something out in the physical world, this card is saying to manifest it in the inner world first. I just saw a 24 when I said that. Manifest this on the inner plane first. So that would be, you know, using your ritual and meditative space to really see it, to really bring your guides in, to visualize, to pour over any obstacles that we can focus on releasing before it is presented to the outer world. That's going to be one of the most important energies that we see showing up during this full moon. Now, before we move into the general correspondences of the full moon in Aquarius, I do want to pull one card from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle deck. This is one of my favorite Oracle decks just to catch a vibe from our spirit guides as far as where we need to focus our energy and our frequency and our mindset during this full moon time period. Okay, so for the collective in this full moon in Aquarius, phase, what do we need to focus on during this time? And what we have here is number 35, and it says perception. The frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. So take a moment to pause, soften your gaze, and just kind of absorb the sacred geometry activation of this perception card, perception mindset. This is really all about illusion versus reality. You know, what is real and what is not? How are we perceiving things? Our mindset and our beliefs are going to filter how we perceive the world. If we have a perception that, you know, everybody's always out to get us, that the world is not a safe place, that it's not a trusting place, then it's going to block and limit, you know, our ability to see opportunities and to welcome in potentials in our outer reality, because we won't see them for their potential and their truth. We are going to see them through the lens of somebody that assumes negative intent, that assumes unsafety in situations. So 3 and 5, that's an 8 number. That is also going to be something that could be showing up around the 8-8 Lionsgate portal. We also have the 8 of Wands here. We had a couple 3s showing up in this reading, with the Three of Cups and Three of Wands. And we had the Devil at the center. So there are certain ways that we seem to be holding ourselves back during this time. And this is going to be a perfect full moon to really illuminate some of those blocked energies, to really focus and bring our hearts back to a better calibrated energy of alignment, connecting with compatibility, trust, higher self. So aligning with our higher self, celebrating even if it is just within, and really just being aware of what is bringing us to the past, what keeps us in this lack mindset, what keeps us focused on areas where we have been hurt or harmed or have had injustices towards us, and then to really focus on our perception and our beliefs within all of that, so that way we can shed what no longer serves and align ourselves to where we are focused on next. So if when you were listening to these messages, you also had certain messages showing up for this energy, please share any of what you gleaned in that comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit pause, do a little bit of digging into the correspondences, and then we will finish up this video. So one moment. So Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So it has this energy of structure meeting change. When we have our lives decently structured, it can help us navigate through change a lot easier. We don't have so much of a anchored, immovable foundation that it can't be adapted and reworked with various environments. Because Aquarius is the humanitarian of the zodiac, it is also a great time during the full moon to consider community. Is there an aspect of your magical or spiritual community that you would like to see yourself participate in more? You know, do you have a group working that you can participate in, whether it's online or in person? Can you reach out and look for ways to connect with others? Or can you even just sit down in your magical space and make a plan on what community could look like, what a better magical and spiritual community could look like from the ways that you can, from what you have control of. Like, how are you impacting? How are you creating? How are you participating in this space? Aquarius is a massive rebel against restriction. So during this full moon, it is an excellent time to create and work any spells or magic around release, releasing of any restrictive mindsets. And that definitely does point to what we were talking about in our tarot reading today. There was a lot of cards that were sword energy that led to restrictive mindsets, restrictive communication, restrictive beliefs and patterns of worthiness. So this full moon would be a great time with that Aquarius energy, with that rebel energy, to break free, to create spells that start to release any sort of like group mindset, collective, restrictive mindsets about even what's possible, what life has looked like, you know, what others have done. There has been a message that I have connected with my guides for years and years now about the opportunity for us to create things that we can't even fathom in our minds. There is so much still continued possibility and potential, but we keep ourselves stuck and restricted. Great time for that right now. Aquarius is also very future oriented. So it is just like our cards were saying. So here's going to be another correspondence with what the card said. So because Aquarius is future oriented, it's a great time to start planning for the future. This could look like a vision board. It could look like some sigil work. It could look like a journaling ceremony, or something where we are not just focusing on what's been restricting us and holding us back, but also what we're going to do about it and how we are going to plan for what's next. Aquarius rules technology. So when it comes to full moon workings, we just came out of Mercury retrograde. As practitioners in the past, we have had somewhat of a tumultuous relationship with technology in general, because magic and technology has struggled with being compatible for quite a long time. Now, during this full moon, it could be a great time to do some sort of like technology detox spell work. Is there certain energies? We saw that devil card. Do we have certain habits or addictive patterns around technology, around social media and its usage that really kind of keeps us from some of what we would like to be doing, how we would like to be spending our time? It might be keeping us from getting out into nature, connecting with our spirit guides and deities. So, some ideas around like a detox, technology detox spell, charging some moon water next to some devices, next to our phones or next to our laptops or some of these things, just to kind of repair and realign our relationship with technology, how we utilize it, how we see it, how we work with it, and when we put it away so that way we can connect in other areas. Another great idea for this time. Since Aquarius rules the 11th house of friendship and collective workings, it is a really great time to focus our energy in some aspect of this full moon time period for the collective, for the friendship kind of vibe. What life would we like to see for everyone? Is there a spell or a intention or a gratitude practice that we could do for the collective, for the community, for our friends, for our family, for our town where we live, just as radiating and sharing that magical overflow to these energies? Okay, I'm going to be looking at my screen for this one. So for color correspondences, we have electric blue, silver, violet, and iridescent or holographic tones. Crystals are going to be amethyst, aquamarine, labradorite. Oh, yay! Clear quartz and amazonite. Herbs and incense will be lavender, frankincense, pine, or anything air clearing like mugwort or sage. The day is going to be Saturday, as it's anchored into the planet that is ruled by Aquarius. But like I said, you can also look at the times of day if you want to do some working along with that correspondence. And then, of course, the tarot card that corresponds with Aquarius is the star card. So you might do a little tarot spread. You can put the star card at the center. We have the moon with the high priestess. We also have Cancer, which is with the chariot card. That's ruled by the moon. So some of those energies were also in the season of Leo. So you can adopt the strength card, but having the star card at the center of like a tarot spread spell, where the star card is really about like, where are we pouring our energy? Where are we wasting our energy? It's also about like, what dreams do we have? What is this unlimited possibility that we can tap into? So some of those are going to be great correspondences during this full moon time. This whole week is going to have sort of this basket formation with Jupiter opposing Pluto. So there's going to be really intense energies and themes of transformation, of purging, of releasing. And our tarot reading did show that. There was a lot of energy of purging and releasing. We also have Mars squared Venus this week from Monday through Thursday, and it's going to peak midweek. So there's going to be this friction between masculine and feminine energies. So it's going to be a great time to work on having balance and harmony with both our masculine and feminine natures. Is there a theme or a way that one seems to be outshining the other or invalidating the other? And can we work on bringing them into more alignment? I'm going to read this part as well. So on the full moon, we have the moon in Aquarius. It's going to be conjunct Pluto. The sun will be in Leo conjunct Jupiter. So with the moon conjunct Pluto, we're going to have lots of that transformation, that death and rebirth themes, power dynamics. So it's going to be a great time to focus on where you've been giving your power away. That did show up in our tarot reading as well. So like to other opinions, other people's opinions, fitting in, external validation versus sourcing it from your authentic self. That's going to be some of that energy that we see. Now at that same time, the sun is conjunct the sun in Leo is going to be conjunct Jupiter, the expanding planet. So this is going to sit opposite that Moon-Pluto conjunction. So this is going to be kind of that it's kind of like the opposite that we're seeing with that feminine masculine energy. It's going to be the saving grace really of the full moon. So it's going to amplify joyful, healing, awakening energy. And it's going to expand our strength, our courage, our bravery. It's going to help align us with more of that abundance and growth mindset. So it could actually amplify some of the intentions that we have for creating these changes. So, part of this shedding and transformation and death and rebirth and purging and all of these things, Leo and Jupiter, where the sun is right now, is going to help us be ready to grow and shift our mindsets and some of those energies. So that's going to be a full spectrum picture of the reading that we had, the correspondences, what herbs and crystals and magical intentions will be very much aligned, where the planets are and how that's going to work within this whole theme. I typically like to focus, like I mentioned earlier, any of my full moon, I like to do it slightly before it's actually full. So since it's at its 100% illumination on Wednesday morning, Mars conjunct Venus. Am I going to want to do any full moon workings on Tuesday that's ruled by Mars? It depends, but I'll probably choose Monday, Moon Day, to do some of those full moon energies. You could also do it Sunday, but this is being uploaded on Sunday. So if you're just seeing this and you're like, okay, let's put a plan together, maybe Monday, Tuesday, maybe Monday into Tuesday to kind of balance that Mars and Venus energy could be helpful as well. So another long video on this YouTube channel. You're welcome, but I hope that you enjoyed this conversation today. Definitely drop me a thought down below if you want to share any insight that you got from this video, any plans that you're putting together for your own full moon working. I would love to see any thoughts that you had to share. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you can stay up to date with videos as they come out. Typically, the conversations we have around the moon phases are going to be magical, mystical, healing, energy-based conversations. And then we also always do videos around the new moon and full moon to talk about correspondences, alignments, and ways to work with these phases magically. So if that's something that you also vibe with, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. So this is Mina. I will see you next time. Until then, stay wild and spooky, but most of all, stay magical. All right, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.